Welcome back, tankers. And today, got a replay from Sarashi. Not exactly sure how to pronounce the name, so I'm probably just gonna call you Shar. And the Bat Chat 25T, the Tier 9 French auto-loading medium, and we are on Prokhorovka. And this replay is probably a pretty standard replay for anybody who does any sort of passive scouting, any sort of tank that's out there that is trying to rack up the assist damage. And it begins off kind of slow, as you would expect out of a passive scout, in that Shar is simply going to make a beeline for those classic E1 bushes, where he's going to hopefully get into the bushes cleanly and be able to start to passively spot the entire left side of the map and just kind of really control that vision there. Now there's a couple little things that Shar does once they get into the bushes here that really kind of benefits them. First of all, approaches so that the bushes maintain cover for him, gets into the bushes immediately, does not get lit up. Shar does have Sixth Sense on this machine, and then pulls fully into the bushes and is angling their tank downhill, so if they do get spotted, they can run. First blind fire comes in, and if you're going to passive scout, one of the things you have to be aware of is the difference between what appears to be blind fire and directed fire. In that case, that IS-7, as soon as they got spotted, probably pinged the map and said, passive scout in the E bushes, something along those lines. If you get spotted coming up this side of the map and you don't know where it's at, you should be hitting that E1 corridor to have people possibly blind fire it. Catches the E100 sneaking up here. And this next little bit is going to take a little while, so I'm just going to go ahead and crank it up to 2x speed for a little while. And Shar's just going to sit here and resist the temptation to shoot these juicy targets that they're going to find. Now, once you clear out this entire one line, if he knew this one line was clear, he could farm this Object 705 in the side, but he knows he has tanks down here. The Centurion 7-1 that just got a bad day. Those little tank destroyers sit on the back. Here comes the STRV 103B, and rip! There goes your life, my friend. Back to the garage. Oh, I love watching those stealthy tank destroyers just being deleted. The E100 playing this mid-ridge. Can't really poke up cleanly without being lit up from these tanks that are sitting a little further back on the 1 and 2 lines here. And they're set up to support this Bat Chat pretty well. And they're also able to support over on that Object 705 and are setting up quite nicely. Now this is a classic camper setup. You need the scout there. This Yag Tiger decides to pull forward. Be brave, my friend. Bravery has its price. Now one thing to pay attention to is over on the far side of the hill, while he's simply sitting here farming assist damage, is that his team has lost control of this hill, and that's going to cause some problems here. IS-7 comes up, being brave. You know, the E100 pops up here and shoots once. Okay, pretty clear it was a blind fire, not aiming on target. Oops, sorry about that. These other guys pulling forward. And this is where it gets really, really hard. One, another blind fire. To one, hold your nerve. But more importantly, not to fire your gun. When you see all these one-shot targets, it gets real tempting just to shoot them. Okay, another blind fire. And again, he's just holding still. They know somebody's over here, but he's positioned himself deep in these bushes and in a position that you normally don't have the scout sitting in, to kind of avoid the normal shots. You really need more people blind firing this if you are going to break this. Now on the far side of the map, if we're paying attention to the 0 line, It's been completely lost. The bat chat that was up on the hill has come down. And I'm going to slow this back down because we're going to see Char show the strength of these French medium and light tanks late in a match. So we got the Object 430 starting to push up. And Char's holding the mouse over the weak spot, knowing, or in this case he has a side angle, waiting to take that shot. And this is where you have to kind of decide, when we're getting down to these low health tanks, you have your clip, can you make a change here? And to me, this is a really tempting shot on the E100, although the 430's down there, because you could finish the E100 pretty easily. Come on, Char, do it. Do it. You know you want to do it. Not yet. Such discipline. I would have pulled the trigger a long time ago because I'm impatient. I would have lit this guy up and been gone. But Char's letting his team do the work, and now he decides to act. Blind fires the second shot and is now rolling in. Looking for those side targets. Go ahead and just lock onto his gun view for us. Comes around, picks up the bat chat. Does take one shot from the bat chat. 705. And when you're in a French auto-loading tank, you end up being at your strength at the end of the match when you have lots of low health tanks, and you can go and you can just clip out multiple of these low health tanks very rapidly. Does a nice job taking several of them. If he had not bounced that 705 on that one shot, he would have had another shot to take out the IS-7 that came over on top of him. Instead, nice covering from the Wheezy 111 and the J-Panzer E100. And now being aggressive down this line here. Now this is not a real bad move here because he knows he has two enemy tanks, or a tank destroyer and a tank, moving up to the 7 line to the railroad tracks there. He knows most likely Artie is sitting in the typical Artie places right by the railroad tracks down in the 8 line, possibly over behind the hill, because let's face it, Artie moved there at the beginning of the match and probably have not moved a single another inch in the entire game. So he's going to go and take out this, because those are probably the two most dangerous tanks to his tank destroyers, who he needs to keep their guns singing, keep them on target. Comes around looking for Artie, aiming around the corner, catches one Artie heading up the hill, has the other one just off to his right, which I'm guessing the other one is not on reload, or else he should be getting shotgunned. And the GW Tiger just kind of sat there. So he's either in top-down view and not paying attention. Who knows? Okay, so now we have Char coming up this side. The tank destroyer, the FV-215B, and the E-75 should know that he is approaching from this direction. His Wheezy 111 and the JPZ E100 are holding in a good position on the other side in case they try to go over and put pressure on. So his job is now to control the vision of this match. Kind of sneaks up into the key bushes, sees the E75 coming back. That may have been just a blind fire from the E75. Not sure. I don't remember seeing the 6 cent symbol going off, but maybe I missed it. And now he's repositioned to these other bushes, checking for targets. And here, I know he's trying to get the pin shot, but he might have been better off pulling back so he could double or get behind the bushes if he had the depression, which he might not have been able to get. He might have known that, so that he was not spotted when he fired, and he would have saved himself some health here. So he's going to bravely run away. And now he has a choice. He could go dark and come back to these bushes that we're just passing right here and passively spot those tanks coming over. And I was kind of curious when I first watched this replay of what he was going to do here. I thought maybe swing out clear around by the railroad tracks along the EF division line. His TDs, if you're paying attention to the mini-map, are moving up to support him from the railroad. So he really just needs to respot these guys and let his TDs do what TDs do, and that is farm damage. So working the trench here, trying to sneak into a position to be able to ambush these two tanks, and Houston, we got a problem. Okay, can we get up this little incline here? I don't want to say at some point in the past you used to be able to make this climb up here. I don't think it's been in a recent patch. I think this has been this way for quite a while, but I could be wrong there. And now we're into trouble. We're down to 2 minutes. So whatever you're going to do has to be somewhat quick, has to be efficient, and you can't lose containment on where the enemy's at. Otherwise, you might not have time to run them down and to get them clicked out. With the auto loading in particular, if you waste too many shells in killing, say the E75 or the FE215B, you may not have enough time to reload and get off another clip. So searching for that E75, first shot into the dirt. Now settles down, gets a nice shot. E75 is not able to turn around because now that he's tracked, he won't be able to, but he was also having to face those two TDs. There's a nice shot finishing it out. And here's a tough call. You're down to 1 shot in the magazine. You have enough time, I believe the reload's around 38 seconds on this, to reload. But if you run into that WZ, or excuse me, the FE215B, you're going to be in trouble. You could have no way to defend yourself. So searching for that tank destroyer, catches him there. Nice job getting a track shot. And now we clean it up. You know, and this is definitely old school spotting on Prokhorovka, getting into that bush on the E1 line. Everybody who plays this game at this level should know that spotting position. And I'm a little surprised that that team, when they kept getting the IS-7 and the E100 being spotted there, did not just hammer those bushes, with blind fire. Already should have shot a couple blind shots there, and very likely they could have either chased this guy out or killed him, but they didn't, which is actually what happens most of the time. Very seldom do you get coordinated blind fire on those bushes in a random match like this. And Shar does a great job holding his ground, realizing it's blind fire. Even if he takes one hit there, I wouldn't have been surprised to see Shar just hold his ground and see if they notice that they hit or missed him. It is hard sometimes to see your shots when they go through the bushes if they impact. Matter of fact, you see a lot of really good players, they'll switch over to HE because the HE makes a little bigger splash and makes it a little bit better, easier to see when you're blind firing if you hit something or not. Plus, on a lightly armored tank like this, an HE shot from an E100, and you're in a whole world of hurt. So, wonderful game from Shar. I love this because it is a gameplay that I don't think we see a lot in the world with tanks, of this nice passive, patient scouting, and then at the end, taking advantage of the Batchat's gun and its maneuverability and the ability to eliminate a lot of targets very quickly when they're on low health. And if you're playing one of the French autoloaders, or any autoloader for that, remember your health late in the game and your gun late in the game is greatly magnified compared to the beginning. And if you can preserve your health and preserve your gun, you all of a sudden become a very deadly tank at the very end of the game and can really turn things around. Shout out to these two TD players as well. 274239, wonderful name there, and Mertunius, just playing those TDs kind of the way they're designed to be played, which is camp at the back, hold your position, and shoot everything that gets lit up. As always, tankers, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, or would be willing to, I'd really appreciate any likes or subscribes you'd throw my way. And always, have fun, good luck, and enjoy your games. Have a great night, tankers.